The void was absolute. No stars, no planets, just the black stretch of interstellar space that most species avoided, calling it dead, silent, meaningless. Yet, deep within this darkness, something moved. A pulsar, subtle, almost imperceptible. Rhythm shimmered like liquid light across light years. It was a color that made human eyes ache to comprehend, shifting between shades that seemed unreal, like the spectrum itself had fractured. The pulse was not random. It had cadence, structure, a rhythm that suggested thought at Crucible Deep, humanity's hidden research station far beyond the edges of explored space. Lieutenant Mara Ellison leaned over the sensor console, her breath shallow. The pulse had come again, faster this time, almost imperious, demanding attention. "It's alive," whispered Dr. Kamal Voss, the station's lead xenolinguist. His voice trembled between fear and awe. "I've scanned trillions of cosmic signals. Nothing behaves like this. It's calling." Mara's hand hovered over the COM panel. Calling who or what could even hear it? "That's the thing," Kamal said, eyes glued to the shifting waveforms. "It isn't meant for us, or maybe it is. We just don't know yet." The rest of the crew gathered, their faces lit by the pale glow of the monitors. Each signal pulse bent and twisted, as if the void itself had taken a breath, reaching for them. There was silence, heavy and charged, the kind that pressed against the chest like gravity. Then the station's AI Hera interrupted in its calm, mechanical tone. "Signal detected, non-random pattern confirmed. Probability of intelligent origin, 98.7%. A collective intake of breath echoed in the room. Intelligent origin. Almost no species ever dared respond to such signals. Most would record, archive, and ignore, fearful of cosmic dangers that humans could barely imagine. Yet Mara felt a spark in her chest, a stubborn, reckless curiosity unique to her species. "We answer," she said, voice firm. "We don't know what's out there, but we'll find out." Kamal hesitated. "Are you insane? We don't know what it is. It could be a trap. We could be humanity," Mara interrupted, her eyes locking onto the wave, as if daring them to vanish. "This is what we do. We step forward where others freeze." The station came alive as they encoded a reply. Not in words, they didn't yet know if the pulse could interpret language, but in a sequence of patterns designed to mimic the rhythm, the cadence of the alien signal, a digital echo sent out into darkness, small and fragile against the immensity of the void. As the transmission left the station, the pulse shifted, colors deepened, then fractured into new, intricate shapes. It was no longer a single call. It was aware. The signal waited, listening, watching. Outside the observation windows, the emptiness seemed to thrum, an unseen heartbeat in the dark. The crew pressed close to the glass, the blackness stretching endlessly. And yet for the first time, Mara felt that humans were not alone, that something vast, ancient, and perhaps dangerous had noticed them. The station hummed, lights flickered, and in the darkness, a single thought, unspoken but undeniable, swept through Mara's mind. "They are coming." And we answered. Suspense hung like a knife edge in the void. The signal had been sent into the dark, and humanity had dared to answer. What would answer back, Mara wondered? Would be friend or predator, or something beyond imagination? In that silent, cosmic moment, the void felt alive, aware, and hungry for answers. And humanity had just volunteered to give them. For days, the void remained silent. The pulse had been received. Humanity had answered, but nothing returned. Mara Ellison paced the observation deck, her eyes tracing the black expanse. Every flicker of distant starlight felt like a secret, being whispered just beyond comprehension. Then it came. A ripple of light, impossibly far away, began to coalesce. At first, it was just a glimmer, almost mistaken for a star, but it grew shimmering, bending, twisting in ways that defied physics. Colors bled into one another, casting patterns that made Mara's stomach twist with a mixture of awe and terror. "It's massive," Kamal breathed, leaning close to the viewport. "No known ship could maintain structural integrity like that. It's alive. Or, it's not made of matter, the way we understand it." The alien presence moved closer, and with it, the pulse intensified. It wasn't just a message anymore, it was an invitation. The rhythm shifted, now structured, deliberate. The station's AI calculated probabilities faster than any human mind could keep up. "Hera," Mara commanded, voice firm, "run a full threat assessment." The AI's response was unnerving in its neutrality. Hostile probability, indeterminate, unknown technology detected, energy signatures exceed human comprehension, caution advised. Other species had already abandoned hope. Reports from the Galactic Coalition showed fleets ignoring similar signals, labeling them cosmic mirages, hallucinations, traps. But humanity had done the opposite. They had answered. And now, the universe was responding. Mara's hand hovered over the comm panel. "We go," she said, her voice firm. "We don't wait for permission. We don't cower." The crew exchanged tense glances. This was madness. Yes, but it was the kind of madness humans excelled at. Mara keyed the station's thrusters. Slowly, carefully, they set course for the coordinates embedded in the pulse. A distant system no maps had named. As the station drew closer, the alien construct became clearer. It was enormous, hundreds of kilometers in diameter, refracting light like a fractured prism. Its surface shifted, rippling with alien patterns, as if energy itself had been molded into a vessel. Shadows moved across its form in ways Mara couldn't predict, making the structure feel alive, aware, watching. Sensors overloaded as streams of alien energy cascaded past, bending the void around them. The station's hull vibrated subtly, the cosmic hum pressing against the crew's eardrums. Camel's eyes darted between the readings. "It's scanning us, judging us." Suddenly, a sequence of pulses rippled back from the alien ship faster, sharper, and more intricate than before. Mara stared in awe. "It's inviting us closer," she whispered. "It wants us to come." Tension gripped the crew. Every instinct screamed to retreat, to send a warning to humanity, to hide. But Mara pressed on. "We answer," she said again. The words carried weight now, a promise and a challenge both. Outside, the void seemed to lean closer. Stars flickered nervously in the alien radiance, as if the cosmos itself was holding its breath. The pulse, once faint and distant, now thundered across the station, echoing in human chests like a heartbeat. Mara felt it deep in her bones. The first contact had begun, and humanity, alone among the stars, had dared to take the first step into something vast, beautiful, and terrifying beyond imagination. The alien ship waited, patient, immense, and incomprehensible, and in the blackness between them, a single truth crystallized. Humans had accepted the invitation, and the universe would never forget it. The alien vessel hung in the void like a monolith, enormous, incomprehensible, and impossibly alive. Its surface rippled with energy patterns that shifted with every pulse. Mara Ellison's breath caught as the station drew closer. Every sensor screamed that this was beyond human understanding, but Mara felt the thrill of being the first to witness it. "We're within range," Kamal muttered, voice tight. "All readings indicate extreme energy flux. Any miscalculation could destroy us," Mara finished, her gaze locked on the alien behemoth. "Yes, but humans survive because we take risks others won't." Outside the station's windows, the void itself seemed to twist. Stars flickered and warped, black matter rippling unnaturally around the alien presence. Mara felt a subtle vibration beneath her feet, a resonance that seemed almost sentient. The ship wasn't just a vessel, it was a being, and it knew they were coming. Then the pulse shifted again. It was no longer random or patterned, it was directional, guiding them. HERAS sensors interpreted the signals as coordinates, a path into a dense region of space that humanity had never explored. The Black Nebula. Are we following it into a trap? A crew member whispered. The question hung in the air like a shadow. Possibly, Mara said. But we follow because we are human. We do not hide in fear of the unknown. We illuminate it. With that, the station adjusted course. The Black Nebula approached, a swirling mass of darkness and storming energy. Stars disappeared behind clouds of cosmic dust, and strange, electric currents crackled across the void. Sensors failed intermittently, overwhelmed by fluctuations in gravity and electromagnetic interference. Yet the pulse continued to lead them deeper, a heartbeat of alien intent guiding their path. Inside the observation deck, tension was tangible. Crew members pressed close to the windows, eyes wide, hearts hammering. The nebula's storming clouds moved like living things, shadows twisting into forms that seemed to watch, to mock, to dare them to proceed. Kamal shivered. Every instinct screams to turn back. Nothing in the Coalition's records describes a nebula that behaves like this. Nothing survives it. Mara's eyes gleamed. We survive because we choose to face it. That's what makes us human. That's why they called us here. As they penetrated the nebula, the alien pulse grew stronger, almost tangible now, pressing against their consciousness. Patterns of energy danced across the hull, forming shapes Mara's mind struggled to comprehend. It was communication, but not in language. Emotion, intention, curiosity had flowed from the alien construct like a torrent. Suddenly, the station's lights flickered. The pulse intensified, striking the hull with what felt like a living touch. Mara felt it in her bones. The ship was assessing them, measuring courage, resilience, and intelligence. Every human instinct screamed caution. Every spark of their species' audacity urged them forward. Hold steady, Mara said, voice low, but resolute. We answer the call not with weapons, not with fear, but with ourselves. Outside, the nebula shifted again, revealing a vast, dark expanse. Within its heart floated structure spires of unknown material, glowing faintly, impossibly intricate, suspended in the void, like a cosmic cathedral. The pulse guided them toward it, inviting them closer, deeper. And in that moment, Mara realized something terrifying and exhilarating. Humanity had entered a domain no species had dared tread. They were no longer observers, they were participants, and the universe had just begun to take notice. The alien signal pulsed once more, stronger than ever, and in its rhythm, Mara felt a single, undeniable truth. The darkness had accepted them, but it would test them, and humanity had just stepped into the first trial. The Black Nebula swallowed the station, a storm of shadows and energy that made Mara Ellison feel as though the void itself had hands pressing against her skull. Yet at its heart stood the alien construct, a colossal lattice of shimmering light and dark matter, twisting and folding like a living cathedral. It pulsed with awareness, each wave of energy a heartbeat echoing across the void. This is impossible, Kamal breathed, his eyes wide. Nothing in physics should be able to maintain structural integrity here, and yet, it does, and it's watching us. The station's hull vibrated as the pulse from the construct intensified. HERAS sensors struggled to interpret the alien patterns. Signal complexity exceeds all known intelligence metrics, the AI intoned. Recommendation: proceed with extreme caution. Mara's jaw tightened. Caution isn't the answer. Curiosity is. Humanity survives because we confront, not retreat. As they drew closer, the cathedral spires stretched impossibly into the void, twisting light into intricate fractals. Energy flowed along invisible conduits, forming patterns that seemed almost conscious. Shadows moved across its surface, not reflections, not projections, but deliberate shapes that hinted at awareness. Then came the first touch. A beam of energy, soft but insistent, extended toward the station. It wasn't a weapon. Mara could feel its intent through the hull, a probing sensation that pressed against her mind, sensing, questioning, evaluating. Crew members froze, tense and silent, yet none could deny the fascination radiating from the alien presence. "It's communicating," Kamal whispered. "Not with language, with thought, with feeling." Mara reached for the console, carefully matching the pulse with a sequence of energy patterns. Each flash, each mirrored rhythm, was a human heartbeat sent into the void, a proof of existence, of awareness, of courage. The cathedral responded, folding and unfolding, shifting its form. Light bent around the station, cascading in waves that painted the interior of the observation deck with impossible colors. Shadows, elongated, twisted, and converged, forming shapes that almost resembled humanoid figures, but not quite. Eyes, countless and infinite, seemed to flicker along the spires, watching, learning, testing. A low hum resonated through the station, vibrating through metal, air, and bone alike. It was not threatening, but it was insistent. Attention had been drawn. Judgment was near. Mara's chest tightened with a mixture of awe and fear. "Prepare for close approach," she commanded. "Whatever this is, we meet it on our terms. Not as prey, but as humans. Curiosity first. Courage always." As the station maneuvered closer, the cathedral's pulse sharpened, thrumming like a drumbeat across the void. The alien presence seemed to envelop them, as though the structure itself were alive and aware of every microsecond of human thought. Every heartbeat, every breath, every instinct was being observed. Mara pressed her hand to the viewport, staring into the impossible lattice. The alien entity was vast beyond comprehension. Yet there was a sense of invitation, recognition of humanity's audacity, and then a single clear message pulsed through the station's systems, not words, not symbols, but a direct, undeniable understanding. "You are seen, you are known, you are the first to answer." The crew exchanged stunned glances. The enormity of what they had done began to settle over them. Humanity had not only survived the void, they had been acknowledged by an intelligence that dwarfed comprehension. And yet, the cathedral's presence carried a subtle warning. The universe had opened a door, and nothing beyond it would be easy. Mara's gaze hardened. "We continue," she said. "We step inside, because humans do not flinch in the face of the unknown. We confront it. We learn, we endure." Outside, the cathedral pulsed in response, a living structure, recognizing its first visitors. The void around them seemed to bend, shadows twisting into impossible geometry. And deep within its heart, something ancient and immense stirred, aware that humanity had entered a domain no one else dared touch. The first trial was only beginning. The station drifted closer to the alien cathedral, its massive spires weaving light and shadow like a cosmic web. Mara Ellison's pulse hammered in sync with the entity's rhythmic pulse. Every vibration of the hull felt alive, a subtle warning that the structure itself was conscious. HERAS, sensors flared erratically. Caution, structural analysis impossible. Energy readings exceed containment thresholds. Unknown variables. Maximum. Kamal swallowed hard. "It's like it can think, watch, judge. It's not just a ship, it's a mind. A mind the size of a system." Mara exhaled, steadying herself. "Then we show it who we are. Humanity survives by facing the impossible." The station's hull glowed faintly as tendrils of energy from the cathedral reached toward them. Not violent, not invasive, probing, deliberate. The patterns pressed against the station's systems, interfacing directly with Hera, bending data streams into shapes no algorithm had ever anticipated. It was contact that bypassed language, thought, and memory. A sudden surge of light flooded the observation deck, making every shadow stretch and twist. Crew members instinctively shielded their eyes. Shapes emerged in the brilliance, geometric, fractal figures that moved as if alive, as if observing every heartbeat in the room. Mara felt a pulse in her chest, synchronized with the cathedral's own. It wasn't just energy. It was awareness. It's reaching out. Cognitively, Kamal whispered. It's not attacking, it's thinking. Mara nodded, stepping closer to the viewport. Her reflection blurred with the alien forms outside. Slowly, she extended a hand, mirroring the cathedral's tendrils of light. The contact was subtle, yet undeniably a fusion of intent and recognition. The cathedral responded, folding its energy streams into intricate patterns, almost like a smile. Hera translated the patterns into a rudimentary framework: observation, evaluation, response, intention, understanding. A shiver ran through the crew. This was not just first contact, it was communion. Mara realized the cathedral was testing them, assessing human curiosity, resilience, and ingenuity. Every hesitation, every bold step, was being registered, catalogued, interpreted. Suddenly, a sharp jolt rocked the station. Alarms blared. A massive surge of energy shot through the hull, throwing crew members off balance. The cathedral pulsed brighter than ever, its patterns spinning into dizzying complexity. Hera's voice was tense. Warning: cognitive overload imminent. Neural systems at risk. Mara steadied herself. Focus. Humanity isn't defined by retreat. It's defined by endurance, by curiosity, by daring to confront the unknown. The pulse responded, slowing. Light condensed into a single, coherent shape, a massive lattice that seemed to fold in on itself, forming a gateway. Not a door, not a vessel, but a threshold. And through it, Mara felt the cathedral's intent clearly. Enter, engage, understand, survive. The station's crew exchanged silent, awestruck glances. This was the moment all of human history had been waiting for. Other species had avoided the call, labeling it a trap or a mirage. But humans had answered. And now, the cathedral offered communion, the ultimate test. Mara's voice was firm, filled with the weight of determination. We step forward. We are human, and humans do not shrink from the darkness they illuminate it. Outside, the lattice pulsed in response, tendrils of light stretching to welcome the station, or perhaps to challenge it. Shadows and fractals danced in a rhythm that seemed almost musical. The void itself vibrated, as if holding its breath, as the station crossed the threshold of the lattice. Mara felt a singular truth resonate deep within her bones. The universe had acknowledged humanity. It had chosen to test them, and whatever awaited beyond, only the courage and ingenuity of humans would define the outcome. The first step into conscious, alien territory had been taken. The first trial had begun, and the void had never been more alive, more dangerous. The station entered the lattice, and the universe seemed to bend around them. Light cascaded in impossible angles, shadows stretching and folding as if reality itself were being rewritten. Every pulse of the cathedral sent vibrations through, metal, air, and bone alike. Mara Ellison felt the station shiver beneath her, as if the structure itself were alive and aware of their presence. "This is beyond anything we've trained for," Kamal muttered, voice tight with awe and fear. "Sensors are failing. We can't predict anything inside this intelligence field." Mara's eyes narrowed. "That's exactly why we're here. Humans survive because we face what others cannot comprehend. We endure, we learn, adapt." Suddenly, the lattice shifted. Corridors of glowing energy unfolded where there had been empty space, twisting in on themselves like spiraling staircases of light. The station's navigation systems struggled to map the environment. Every turn led to another impossible geometry, another optical illusion that seemed almost conscious. Ace's voice cut through the tension. "Alert, Environmental fluctuations exceed containment thresholds. Multiple pathways detected. Unknown. Variables. Maximum. The first challenge struck without warning. A sudden wave of energy surged across the station, compressing gravity on one side while stretching it on the other. Crew members were pinned to the floor, their movements sluggish, unnatural. Equipment floated and snapped violently back into place. Mara's hands gripped the railing as she shouted commands, struggling to keep the station stabilized. "It's testing us," she yelled over the alarms. "Not to destroy but to see how we respond." Indeed, every obstacle felt like a trial tailored to human traits, intelligence, courage, adaptability. Panels of glowing fractals rearranged themselves, forming complex puzzles that demanded immediate solutions, while walls of energy threatened to crush the unprepared. Each movement of the station had consequences, every decision a test. Kamal's hands flew across the controls. "It's adaptive. The lattice reacts to our choices. It's alive in ways we can't even model. One wrong step, and humanity doesn't make wrong steps when courage is paired with intellect." Mara interrupted, her voice steady, though adrenaline surged through her veins. "We calculate. We improvise. We endure. Focus." The station navigated the twisting corridors, with Hera predicting outcomes in milliseconds. Mara issuing commands faster than any computer could fully process. Each solved puzzle, each careful maneuver, was met with subtle acknowledgement from the lattice. Light shifted into gentle pulses, shadows folding into welcoming shapes. Then came the final test. The cathedral's pulse intensified, vibrating directly through the station and into their very minds. Images, flash, possible futures, failures, triumphs all compressed into a single overwhelming awareness. Mara felt doubt claw at her resolve. The lattice wasn't just testing skill, it was probing spirit, measuring fear, resilience, and human will. "Hold together," she shouted, gripping the console. "Remember who we are. Humanity survives because we do not surrender to the impossible." The pulse softened, slowing, almost as if it recognized their persistence. The fractals aligned into a single path, a corridor of glowing light, leading deeper into the cathedral's heart. The lattice had judged them worthy. Humanity had passed the trial. Mara exhaled, sweat beading on her forehead. She turned to her crew. "We've been tested, and we endured. That's what humans do. We confront what others flee from, and we rise stronger." Outside, the lattice pulsed in response, a vast, living cathedral acknowledging its first successful interaction with human intelligence and courage. For the first time, the void seemed less hostile and more aware, watching, waiting, and perhaps intrigued. The trial had ended, but Mara knew this was only the beginning. The cathedral had accepted them, but the journey ahead promised even greater challenges. Humanity had proven itself once. Now, they would see how far their courage, ingenuity, and audacity could carry them into the unknown, and the void was watching, alive with anticipation. The station entered the deepest chamber of the lattice, a cathedral of energy and shadow so vast that Mara Ellison's mind struggled to comprehend it. Towers of pulsing light stretched in every direction, folding over themselves in impossible errors. It was as if the universe had been condensed into this single living space. This is the heart," Kamal whispered, his voice barely audible. "I've never seen anything like it. Not in simulations, not in theories, nothing." Mara's eyes swept over the chamber. The walls shimmered with patterns that weren't static, they were alive, flowing like the consciousness of 1,000 minds. Every pulse of light seemed to echo directly into her thoughts, brushing against memories, instincts, fears. It was overwhelming, almost intimate. HERAS sensors flared wildly. Alert, neural stimuli exceeding safe thresholds. Cognitive integration, at 97%. Recommendation, proceed with extreme caution. But caution was not an option. Humanity had come too far to retreat. Mara straightened, jaw tight with determination. "We are here," she said, "and we face what others would never dare. That's who we are. That's humanity." As they approached the center, the cathedral responded. A vortex of light spiraled downward, coalescing into a single, colossal form, a shape that was neither humanoid nor machine, yet radiated intelligence and intent so vast it dwarfed comprehension. It reached out not with arms, but with thought, brushing against every mind aboard the station. "You've endured the trial," a resonant, thought-like voice echoed inside their heads. "Few species would survive, fewer would comprehend. Humanity, you are unique." Mara's heart raced, but she met the presence without fear. "We are humans. We survive by daring the impossible, by facing the unknown. We endure, and we learn." The cathedral pulsed in response, the light intensifying to a brilliance that threatened to blind them. Then came the revelation, a vision that swept through their minds. Entire civilizations, entire galaxies, had once faced this cathedral's test. Many had failed, many had fled. Only humans had answered, boldly, relentlessly, and without hesitation. This is why the void feared us," Kamal whispered, awestruck. "Not our weapons, not our technology, but our spirit, our audacity, our refusal to shrink from the unknown." Mara nodded, realizing the enormity of their moment. The cathedral wasn't merely a structure, it was a guardian, a sentinel placed at the edge of the known universe, measuring which species were ready to engage with existence on a truly cosmic scale. And humanity had passed. A final pulse of light enveloped the station, warm and deliberate. Patterns of thought and energy flowed into HERA, translating into knowledge beyond human comprehension. Star maps, technologies, philosophies, and warnings. The cathedral offered its gift, but with a caution. The void was not gentle. Those who did not respect its trials would vanish. Those who did not honor its laws would be erased. Mara pressed a hand to the viewport, staring into the swirling lattice. "We have been seen, we have been tested, and we have endured. Humanity stands in the dark and it will not falter." Outside, the cathedral pulsed once more, folding in on itself, almost like a nod of approval. The void, for the first time, seemed less hostile. Aware now of a species that could answer its call and survive. And in that awareness, Mara felt a truth settle deep inside her. Humans were no longer small, fragile creatures drifting through the cosmos. They were witnesses, challengers, and participants in the universe's greatest mysteries. The station hovered in silence, the weight of revelation pressing against them. Ahead lay the final threshold, the choice to carry the knowledge, the gift, and the responsibility back into the darkness. Humanity had been seen, humanity had endured, and the void had taken note. Mara's voice was steady, resolute. "Let's bring this knowledge home, and let the galaxy remember who we are." The cathedral pulsed one last time, a cosmic heartbeat that resonated through the void itself. The station broke free from the lattice, emerging back into the cold, infinite black of space. Stars glittered like distant eyes, indifferent, yet now aware. Mara Ellison exhaled, her body trembling from exhaustion and exhilaration. Humanity had crossed the threshold no other species dared approach. They had been tested on, they had endured. Kamal's voice shook, half disbelief, half awe. We actually made it. We faced the cathedral, and it acknowledged us." Mara turned to the crew, her expression fierce but radiant. "We didn't just survive. We answered the call that others ignored. We faced the darkness when the universe whispered to us alone. That is what makes us human. That is what makes us formidable." HERA's voice chimed in calm, but tinged with reverence. "Data integration complete. Cathedral has shared knowledge, exceeding all known civilizations combined. Warning: integration may cause paradigm shifts in human understanding. Caution: Cognitive and ethical thresholds will be challenged. The crew exchanged glances, knowing that this was no ordinary triumph. The knowledge they carried was more than technology or maps. It was a glimpse into the structure of the cosmos, into civilizations that had risen and fallen, into the hidden mechanics of life and consciousness itself. Humanity had been given a chance few species could even comprehend. As Mara looked out at the void, she felt a pulse, subtle but undeniably resonance from the cathedral itself. It wasn't an invitation this time. It was an acknowledgement. You are seen. You are measured. You are capable. The station's hull creaked as systems recalibrated under the influx of alien knowledge. Mara's hand hovered over the console, steady, despite the adrenaline still coursing through her. We return, not to boast, but to carry the truth of what we can achieve. To remind the galaxy that humans do not shrink from the unknown. We illuminate it. Suddenly, a streak of light flashed across the void. Another species, observing, hesitant. Mara felt a thrill of understanding. The cathedral's test had consequences. Others would now know that humans were not to be underestimated, that audacity, ingenuity, and unyielding courage were forces that could no longer be ignored. Kamal swallowed, his voice quieter now, tinged with wonder. Do they know what we've seen? Do they understand what we've endured? They will, Mara said, her tone firm. Because humanity doesn't just survive in the shadows. We respond. We adapt. We rise. The void stretched infinitely ahead, serene, yet brimming with peril. Mara allowed herself a brief moment of reflection. They had faced something far beyond comprehension, something that could have ended them in an instant. But humans had answered the call, dared the impossible, and endured the unimaginable. The moral of their journey crystallized in her mind. Survival alone was not enough. It was the courage to confront the unknown, the audacity to step into the dark when others fled, and the resilience to endure when the universe itself seemed to challenge you that defined humanity. Hera's calm voice echoed across the station one final time. Recommendation. Broadcast findings. Humanity's position in the galaxy redefined. Potential alliances and conflicts inevitable. Caution. The void watches. Mara's eyes burned with determination. Then we broadcast. We share. We teach. And we ensure the galaxy remembers that humans answer when others dare not. That we are not merely a species. We are a force. A spark in the infinite dark. Outside, the stars shimmered, distant yet intimate. For the first time, the void seemed less empty. Humanity had sent a message without words, without weapons, without arrogance, simply by enduring, daring, and surviving. And in that silence, Mara knew one undeniable truth. The universe would never forget humanity. The station moved forward, carrying both knowledge and courage into a cosmos that had tested them, measured them, and ultimately acknowledged them. Humanity had answered the call into the void, and from the dark they had illuminated everything.